You're going to need a journal. Like, I know you're probably like, really, Michelle? Duh, it's called journaling. I would actually disagree with that. Hey, what's up? It's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video here on Chats with Michelle. What's up? How's it going? So in today's video, as you can see by the title, I'm going to be talking about journaling and pretty much how to journal for a beginner. Now, as you guys know, here on this channel, I focus on navigating adulthood and pursuing purpose. And in today's video, it's very much so on those two topics. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to relate to me that sometimes in this whole navigating adulthood and pursuing purpose, it can seem or tend to be extremely lonely. And sometimes you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to, or sometimes you just don't want to talk to anyone and you want to keep everything to yourself. But I find it that keeping everything to myself, one, and then bottled up in my brain, two, just causes for a lot of clutter and honestly anxiety. It's something that I've dealt with for quite some time, so I've definitely picked up the habit of journaling. Actually, fun fact, not that you asked, but I'm gonna tell you anyways, I've been journaling since like I've been in middle school. So since around the age 13, 14, I've been journaling, and I actually still have record of my past journals. So I just want to give some quick tips for you as a new journaler, or some tips if you've already been journaling, how you can possibly make it better, more efficient, etc. So if you're interested in anything that I have to say about the whole topic of journaling, just keep on watching. Okay, so let's just get right into the video. I want to go ahead and give you some really quick tips that you can take with you about journaling and how it actually is very feasible and that you actually can do it. So the very first tip that I would say is pretty much that journaling doesn't have to be every single day. I think that's where a lot of people get really intimidated about journaling, and they tend to like not be consistent or tend to quit or not keep going, because you would think that when you journal, you have to do it every single day. It's like a diary and you have to write every single down. I would actually disagree with that. I don't think journaling has to be every single day. I think journaling should be as often as you feel, but I would just say as a beginner and when you're starting, I'd recommend journaling at least one time a week. One time a week, I would commit to just journaling on a day that you know that you can commit to each and every time. So a day that I would recommend is a day like Sunday, right? Most people, Sundays are their winding down days. You're usually getting ready for the new week, Monday, work week, whichever. So I would recommend maybe a day like Sunday, and you do that consistently, I would say, for several weeks, and you would see that you may even want to journal more often and just pick up the habit even more. Now, the second tip, it seems pretty obvious, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyways, is that you're going to need a journal. Like, I know you're probably like, really, Michelle? Duh, it's called journaling. But no, you're gonna need a journal, and I think you shouldn't get all like just overly focused on the type of journal, the style of journal, etc. I would say to get a journal that is easy for you to access, something that you feel comfortable using, and something that the lines are like big enough so that you can actually read what you wrote and you're not having a hard time writing. So I would recommend maybe not something too big, but a nice little medium size, something that opens fully so it's not constantly closing on itself, and something you feel just comfortable writing in and the lines are big enough. The third tip is to always date your journal entries. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to journal every single day. However, I think it's really great to go ahead and date your entries, because when you go back and read your journal entries, which I recommend that you do, it would be nice to know when, or the season, or the date, or the time it was when you were feeling this certain way. And it gives you like documentation, I guess you would say, to go back. So as I said in the beginning of the video, I've been writing since I was like in middle school, since a young girl. And the reason why I know that is because when I go through my old journals, I literally dated every single time I wrote in my journal. I was like, wow, I was like in the 8th grade when I wrote this. Like, oh my goodness, Michelle, you was really going through some stuff, right? And that brings me to point number 4, or tip number 4 rather. And that would be that you don't only write in your journal when you're feeling sad. Also write in your journal when you are feeling happy, joy, or great things happen. And the reason why I recommend this is because you're gonna need those positive journal entries for those days that you are feeling sad, or when you're feeling like you can't get through something, etc. And when you go back and you read your old journal entries, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I remember this time I was feeling so low, so down, and look, things worked out, things went well, etc. So I think that it's great to have your sad entries when you're just feeling heavy on your mind, but it's also good to write when you're feeling great or when great things happen, because I think it's nice for you to go back and read those positive times in your life. And tip number 5 will basically be to be honest when you're writing in your journal. Let it all out. Seriously, just let it all out. Even if it doesn't make sense, even if you don't know how to spell words, it doesn't matter. Just let it all out. Write out everything that you are feeling in your mind, in your soul, in your heart. Just release it all. I'm telling you, you will feel so much better once you get it out of here and put it on paper. You would just feel this weight lifted off of you. And I often feel that way. And it doesn't mean that just because you write it down, everything is going to be resolved. You're going to feel like you have it all figured out. No, that may not happen. But I will say oftentimes what happens for me anyways, when I get it out of my head and I put it on paper and I look at it, all of a sudden sometimes solutions start happening, or I see like, oh, well, maybe this is not that big of a deal, or I see how this can be resolved, etc. So that's why I recommend just writing, being honest, and just like letting it go, just dropping it all on paper. I'll go ahead and give you a bonus tip right now, and that would be to keep your journal in eyesight. Basically, keep your journal in a place that you can see it, because when I see my journal, I'm a lot more prompted to go ahead and write in my journal, you know? So if you don't live in a space where you feel comfortable leaving your journal just out in plain sight, put it in a place where you constantly, or you frequently visit rather. So that could be maybe in your backpack, that can be in your purse. A place that I used to keep my journal is actually in my car on the passenger seat. So I would leave my journal every single day, and I used to journal on my lunch break at work. That's something I used to do. So maybe you can leave it in your car if you don't always have like people in your car all the time. So I would say just leave your journal in a place that you can constantly see it, because like I said, you'll want to go ahead and write in it. But that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. You can always like, comment, subscribe. You can share this video if you would like to. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you here on my next video on Chats with Michelle. Bye. Peace out.